Hey everyone, Tom here with Bobby. Hello, sir.
Yo, what's
We are
up,
bringing
brother?
you I'm good, man. We are bringing you guys another episode of the Noise Brigade. And just in case you were wondering where to find us, that's doublewidecoffin.com.
Yes.
Um, this one, man, you pitched a great idea to me, and I feel like I say that a lot. If you're the idea behind this one, just like about every other episode. um, but you were talking about like, hey, look, you and I are such big sports fans, obviously big Philly sports fans, but we've had our fair share of jerseys and uniforms over the years, either from us playing or us just being such fans of the teams. But we wanted to kind of go through and look at some of our favorites. So what have you on this, man? What do you got?
Well, first of all, the reason I can think up all this stuff is because I have a lot less on my plate than you do. So I've got a lot more time to let my mind wander. So, that's it's not because of a lack of creativity on your part, but I'm
Oh, that's
just,
completely
you know,
that.
I have I have no real function in life aside from work. So, but for this show, we decided we would leave the Philly teams out for the most part because obviously that would skew the results a bit. We wanted to focus on like uniforms from that we remember from being kids, or uniforms from history, or uniforms that are out now. But that said, we did want to kind of give a little bit of honorable mentions to our local team, well, our hometown teams. So starting off, we'll go with the Phillies. For me, the powder blue and maroon uniforms are always going to be iconic to me. So are the red pinstripes. I'm good if they never, ever, ever deviate from these. I'd love to see the Liberty Bell incorporate a little bit more, but aside from that, I don't ever need to see these uniforms change. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say, with the Phillies, I would go powdered blue. And I'm not going, I love the powder blue uniforms, don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to here just for the sheer fact that of what you're going to hear later on in my top 10. So it's a little bit of a precursor to what might come up here. I'm just a big fan of the current home pinstripes or the grayaways. A lot of the home pinstripes, though, really set for me because I believe the script is a tad different back in '93 Phillies, right?
Yes.
So I really that really sticks in my head. But I've always been a big fan of the pinstripes, the grayaways. But I'm complete agreement. I hope we don't deviate from this. I do like seeing the different things from time to time. I was always a big fan of the incorporation of the Liberty Bell with the '96 All Star logo.
Yes.
So yeah, I yeah, 100% in agreement. So Philadelphia Phillies, yes, we're there. How about the Eagles? What was your thing on the
Well,
Eagles?
real quick back, just taking a step back though, I gotta say I would be a fan of the Eagle or the Phillies using the powder blue with the maroon as their away uniforms, and then the red pinstripes as the home. But as I was thinking about that, because I'm not a big fan of the gray, I started thinking about during the maroon years, they actually did use maroon pinstripes at home at one point. Um,
Yes, they
and
did.
then one of the logos they had actually had Independence Hall in the background, which I really love that. And I don't know how I completely forgot about that. But that's actually a really cool logo too. Uh, so sorry, not to
No,
jump back, but
no, oh no,
that
no. I
literally just popped into my mind when we were thinking about the grays. I'm like, yeah, screw I don't like the gray uniforms, but obviously you're a fan of. I personally don't like them, but oh, man, now that I'm thinking about it, I really miss that the Independence Hall logo.
Yeah, I think part of me for the grayaways on this, and I don't want to get too deep with it, but again, a lot of it just goes back to watching that '93 team, and especially some of those road games they had in the playoffs. So really sticks in my head, is watching players like Lenny Dykstra just, you know, go off in the playoffs and not being at home, wearing the away
Right.
grays. So just things like that are more stick with me from my childhood. I actually have a Harper away gray. I think the other thing too for me on that is because I no longer live there, so or live in that area. So to me, it's like I'm supporting my team, but it's away.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. All right. So let's go on to the Eagles. So, you know, you've seen in recent years a big push to get the Kelly Green back. Um, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but dude, honestly, we've had the most success as an organization that we've ever had wearing the midnight green. And I really like the midnight green. I kind of feel like, you know what, midnight green is it now. Kelly green for some throwbacks, sure. But I want to stick with the midnight green. And honestly, as long as we don't bring well, you know, I say as long as we don't bring back those yellow and blue ones we wore against the Lions the one year. The ones that apparently gave Kevin Curtis superpowers. Uh, I, but I kind of liked them too, so I can't really say too much. And you know, for those of you who don't know, that yellow and blue is based off of the flag of Philadelphia, and it's because the city of Philadelphia and the area has a lot of Swedish history to it, and so that was, you know, it's all history, and that was when they were the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets for like I think a year or two or three before they were the Philadelphia Eagles. But Frankfurt still being just a neighborhood in Philly.
Yeah, it's cool. I remember hearing that before. I knew the colors were like their first uniforms, basically. But that's, and that's the great part about having this podcast, these little history lessons, these little anecdotes that we kind of get, and it kind of refreshes my memory too, because it's like stuff I've read 20 years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. So very
It's kind of
cool.
like the Zelda overworld for me. It just sticks in my head and it never goes away.
That's a good thing, though. No, I'm in agreement. I love the darker midnight green. I've always a big fan of like the alternate blacks, though. The more like within the last like what 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I do like that. But in my head, if it's hard for me to get out of the childhood on this. So yeah, I can't see and again, I can't see the Eagles in anything different than what they're in now, right? Like never go back. Like I could see the darker midnight greens forever right now. But for me, my personal favorite, and it's because I think I just have fond memories, is just and particularly that Kelly Green, Reggie White jersey. It just doesn't get any better than that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, man, I have one, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna get a disagreement from me on that. I just and I'll even sometimes when I'm playing 2K or whatever football game I happen to be playing, if there's an option for the Kelly Green, I'll throw them in it every once in a while just for fun. You know, it is a nice look, and I do like it, but I kind of feel like, we won the Super Bowl wearing the midnight green. We went to two Super Bowls wearing midnight green. We went to one wearing Kelly green, and the Kelly green one didn't turn out too well for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck on the midnight green at this point.
No.
Although what I would kind of like to see them maybe experiment with the helmets and maybe go with like a silver helmet or maybe like a black helmet. But I mean, obviously keep the wings. The wings can't go anywhere, and I don't want to see the wings turn like neon green or anything. I don't want to be the Seahawks of the East Coast. But
Yeah. Nah, yeah. Yeah. No, I can
but I
tell you
could
right
see
now
some.
that Seahawks are not in my top 10.
No, no. Although, dude, I do kind of dig the neon green jerseys that they have.
But
The color rush.
yeah, but not for the Eagles.
No, not even a little bit.
All right. How about the Flyers, man? What do you got?
All right, so it's kind of funny that you went there because that was exactly the next one on my list. So, to me, one of the most iconic uniforms in all of sports. I've always been a sucker for hockey sweaters that have laces on the front. So the Winter Classic jerseys they had from a couple years ago, the orange ones, probably my favorite Flyers jersey of all time. The reverse retro ones aren't too bad. Matter of fact, I actually got Peyton. Oh no, I didn't get the reverse retro. I got him the other Winter Classic one, the black one. He's getting it for Christmas. He doesn't know it yet. But
Nice.
again, hopefully he's not listening.
Yeah, don't listen to this.
Yeah, that would be kind of bad, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean the reverse retro is not bad, but I really like the third jersey that we've been using, the one from the Winter Classic from a couple years ago. It's my favorite of all time.
Nice. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. Very iconic jersey. And really, it's hard to get away from really any iteration of it. And I think it's just because the Flyers logo is so iconic.
Right.
Smacked right in the middle of the chest. I mean, it's it's just hard to get away from it. And this is kind of a recurring theme for me with Philly things. I mentioned this with the Eagles and liking the black alternates. I love the black Flyers jerseys with white sleeves and the orange accent stripes. That just does it for me. It looks badass, and yeah. But I mean, really, any Flyers jersey does. It just it's like you said, it's iconic, and it's hard to not like basically any of them.
Right.
We could sit there and we could say, hey, look, I don't like that first iteration of the Eagles jerseys at all, and I certainly don't like maybe this year or this decade's worth or whatever of the Phillies unis. That's really hard to say for the Flyers. I don't think there's any that I can say that I don't like.
The only one that I could even say that I kind of don't like, and I can't even really say I don't like it because I own one. I own one of them. Is when they came out with the initial third jerseys, where everybody tried to do a more modern take on it, and the Flyers ended up with this orange one that had almost like a 3D metallic logo on the front. I don't know if you remember that one or not. It was from the early 2000s, and it was, I don't know, man, it was something. But I got I ended up snagging a Peter Forsberg one when during the strike season, and they thought that he was. I guess they thought he was going to retire or whatever. Or I don't remember exactly the case, but they ended up putting it on clearance at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I snagged one.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Let's round out the Philly sports then. So I'll do my Sixers one here.
Yeah.
Again,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Well, black jersey, particularly the early 2000s with Sixers scrawled across the front, and just you can't help but not think of Allen Iverson. I mean, that's just what I see. I love that jersey. It's very, very for the time. And don't get me wrong, there's other Sixers jerseys that I really like, going back with like Dr. J and some of the different color iterations there, with red, white, and blue,
Yes.
I love those, and there's some different ones I really like, but if I'm really stuck on something, it's that one. And probably because that was one I would have probably actually have bought, but I never did. As far as the most recent basketball jersey, and that was so that's it for me.
So for me, one of my first notes about the Sixers is I would totally leave those ones in the past, and I specifically mentioned that the ones that AI took us to the finals in.
Nice.
But as far as their jersey, I mean, dude, they've had some really iconic looks. But I am with you on black though, in that I really like the I think they call them the city line, or I forget what they call it, but the ones for the Sixers have Boathouse Row on them. They're black, and then they have the outline of Boathouse Row. I really like them. I think those are slick.
Yeah, and that's a let me see. Yeah. That is, I know. Yeah, I had to pull that back up. Yeah, that is a cool one. And it's funny too. And I can't necessarily recall, but have you seen some of these this variant for these other cities?
No, I haven't really looked into them too much.
Yeah, I think there's I don't know if it's called the same thing for other cities and their basketball organizations, but there are some modern jerseys, and we'll get into it when we get into the top 10, that are just absolutely atrocious for certain ones, and it's almost a sin that they even have to wear them. So the Sixers got lucky on that one.
Yeah. Well, that's like those hats that came out, like the City Pride hats that came out. And for the Phillies, it had like a cheese or Phillies or Eagles. I don't remember who it was, but had like this a cheesesteak on the side that looked like some kind of mutated hot dog, and like I don't know, dude. It was just brutal. But they've been coming out with some brutal stuff lately.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not, not good. But
Not
anyway,
good.
um, kind of, I just wanted to touch too on one thing. Speaking of Philly sports, and this isn't Philly sports necessarily, but in the area, and I just wanted to say this one. I'm a big fan of the Reading Fightins jerseys. They're awesome.
Yeah,
With the Ford Fightins just scroll across the chest, they're just so cool. So for unfamiliar, that's the Double A affiliate for the Philadelphia Phillies. But that's such a uh, cool look. So
yeah, and that's the thing. There's minor league baseball and minor league hockey even. You'll find so many awesome uh just awesome jersey designs. They're so much more willing to be experimental, and they're so much more willing to just do these out there jerseys and uniforms, and even I mean team names. Let's the what is it? The Rocket City Trash Pandas.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's I mean the Chattanooga Lookouts. There's so many iconic minor league teams and designs and stuff. So I kind of, for the most part, left that stuff out just because, this list could be 200 long if we go with that kind
oh
of stuff. So
yeah, yeah,
I
no.
kind of tried to stay with the major league.
Yeah, no, I had one more honorable mention on a minor league team. Same deal. Like you mentioned the Lookouts, and I went with like the Lansing Lugnuts. Um,
Okay,
because that was one of those I remember from the '90s, and they were around for quite a long time, and goofy logo. But then, yeah, some other honorable mentions too. Like before we dig into our top 10, one of the ones that I always wanted was there, and they make this, and I can't recall there ever being a name or a number on the back of it, but the Boston Bruins jersey that Happy Gilmore wears. Have you ever seen the like film replicas of these things?
no,
Okay, so in the movie, he wears like he's got a black one, and he's got a white one, and I don't recall there ever being anything on the back. I think it's just a blank jersey.
right,
But they make these like film replica ones, and it's the funniest thing because it says Gilmore on the back, and it's the number 18, which I think is supposed to be the nod to golf. 18 holes.
right.
Um,
That's
so
weird.
yeah, it's really cool though. It's like one of those things. Like yeah, I could see. I hate the Bruins, but I could see wearing that. That's pretty cool.
So I have a shirt that people will well, not anymore because I can't wear it out because it's so old that the sleeves fell off and there's holes in it and stuff. But I have an old Boss Tone shirt that I got from a show, and it's got the spoked wheel like the Bruins have, but it's got that bulldog with the devil horns and the mohawk. So it's got that in the middle instead of the B, and then on the
Ah,
back it has 737 in their like how they would be on the back of the jersey. But that's the closest I could ever get to wearing anything that would support Boston.
yeah. Like I said, that was a straight like honorable mention for me, mainly because of the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
But I love Happy Gilmore, so it's kind of
Oh, of
hard to
course.
I do want to say too, and again, I didn't include any of this in my top 10, so these are just kind of falling honorable mentions. And I'm just speaking general terms here. I've always thought that the military appreciation uniforms are always cool. Love the camo stylings with the names, the numbers. I just always thought it was a nice touch. I always thought they went above and beyond um, over the years, anyway. Whether that was baseball or any other professional sport that had them out there, I just thought that was cool. I know the San Diego Padres do it a lot,
Yeah.
and there's other clubs that do it, and it's a cool look. But I think it's a nice way to honor too. So I don't know. Have you ever liked those?
Yeah, I see. I like them, but a lot of them they'll add little things that kind of bug me. I'm such dude. I'm so stupid with this stuff. Like I get so picky on them. Like there'll be a little patch like on the Eagles stuff last year. It was like PHL-E. I'm like, no, nope, nope. I see what you're trying to do. No.
Oh
And
yeah, I
so
get you.
like that would throw me off. So, I don't know. I like them. Don't get me wrong. I think that a lot of them look really cool, but I just I normally tend to stick with the team color stuff. Even with some of that stuff is really cool, but by and large, I typically just stick with the team colors.
Yeah,
I
no,
wear I wore
I
enough
agree.
camo in my
Yeah, I
life.
hear you, man. I hear you. The other thing this will be the last honorable mention I get into for myself anyway, is if it wasn't for the advertisements on them, and honestly, the fact that I really don't like soccer, I would completely wear anything with Manchester United on it. Um, but their uniforms are so terrible because they have these stupid ads all over them.
Yep.
Like you're just a billboard, and I'm not saying that like some of the stuff I've, might have like, sponsored by or whatever because I picked it up somewhere for free or, that's just the way what it is. But um, yeah, I don't really want to go walking around like I look like a NASCAR,
Right.
but I really like
Well,
their logo.
well, dude, and honestly, that's I hate to say it, but that's kind of the direction we're heading as far as you know, during preseason games, football NFL teams are wearing them now. With like like the Eagles use Acme as their ad, and I don't know if it's just during training camp because I didn't get to see any preseason games this year. Um, but the Flyers have logos on their helmet now. The NHL has logos on the helmet. They're experimenting with logos on the jerseys. I know the Sixers had some kind of ad on their jerseys, and I don't know if that carried over into the regular season or not. But that's kind of the direction that they're heading. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of upset about that.
Yeah. No, and it's funny. Do you remember the movie Major League Two?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I always it's funny because it's one of the few sequels that I absolutely love. But there's a scene in that movie where they're bleeding money, and they have to put ads out on the outfield wall, and they make fun of it.
yeah,
And the funny thing, movie was made in '94. And of course, if you're not old enough to recall, if you're listening to this, or it just seems like eons ago, there were no ads on outfield walls back then. So it was
right.
a pretty. I mean, there might have been, but it was in minor leagues generally, or very few and far between of anything at all, if anything at all. And now it's like everywhere. Digital billboards and regular billboards and whatever. And so, yeah, you're right. It's really the next natural progression is to unfortunately add them to the players' uniforms themselves. So, did you have anything else though in honorable mentions before we dig in?
No, I mean your honorable mentions made me think of the Charlestown Chiefs from Slapshot,
Yes,
or
yes.
maybe like the Halifax Hitmen from Goon. But aside from that, no, I'm ready to jump in, man.
Cool, man. Well, I'm gonna preface this, and I'm gonna say that mine is in no particular order. I don't really know. These are just 10 that I kind of picked out. So I don't know about you. So
Yeah, no,
whatever.
mine are the same way. It's just 10 that I thought of, and I'm gonna kick it off, man, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead, man. Dig
And
in.
and I cheated a bit too. So, I said I wasn't really going to go with minor league, but the first one I'm going to bring up, and technically I cheated, but technically I didn't because they don't play in Philly anymore. But the Philadelphia slash Adirondack slash Lehigh Valley Phantoms.
Ooh, nice.
So, dude, one of my biggest sports related regrets, like that didn't involve me playing, is never owning a purple Phantoms jersey because like you've seen the logo before, right?
Oh yeah.
So the logo itself is awesome. It's basically like if you take the Flyers logo and cut off the puck part that's like the bend in the P, and you just mirror the wings on the back of it and then put some eye holes. And so they used to have a mascot called Flex, who was basically the Phantom of the Spectrum. Um, Such a cool logo, such a cool colorway with purple, orange, black, and white. Um, and it would have been so cool to be able to throw one of those jerseys on and go over to the Spectrum and cheer for him and yell, "Shoot it!" But I never did. And now I live in Florida, where you're lucky if you can wear long sleeves 2 days out of the year, and so it doesn't really make sense to get a Phantoms jersey. But I would really love to have a purple Phantoms jersey with just to have it. I think it would be super cool.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's funny, and even think about the Philly-based ones before we dove in here. I didn't even think about the Phantoms, so that's cool, man. That's a good one. That is a good one.
What do you have first?
All right, so I'll dig into a hockey one myself, and part of this is because I live down here, and I just love their logo. Not really a fan of the team necessarily, but my favorite, and looking back at the different colorings of it, was the inaugural Nashville Predators jersey.
Ooh, okay.
It's dark blue, kind of silver shoulders, and it's more of like a yellow, blue, striped white sleeves, but it's got that Predator logo right on the center, and it's just really, really cool. That logo is obviously it's gone through some minor changes over the years, but it's still the same logo. That really wicked looking predator with the teeth.
Yeah.
So it's always been one of my favorites, especially living down here. I haven't gone to any Predators games or anything, but it's a lot of people are finally starting to sink their teeth into hockey outside, and in that part, kind of south of me, because there's a lot of St. Louis Blues fans around here, that people that do watch hockey. But the ones that are more south are really starting to, because they've been around now for 20 years now or more. And so they're really starting to sink. Yeah, they're really starting to sink their teeth into it. So I do like the all yellow Predators jerseys. I just, but that dark blue is better to me anyway. Just that their logo is really cool. And I don't know, I'm a big fan. That's just it's one of mine that if I were a fan of the team, I'd go out of my way, because unlike you, I can wear long sleeves part of the year. Because right now it is 53 degrees outside.
Oh, you lucky bastard! It's like I can't complain. I think like right now it's let me see if I can bring up my weather app real quick. I think it's in the 60s right now. So, but it's like the high 60s. Nope. I was way wrong. It's 75 right now.
I was gonna say, it's like, wow, that's crazy. I was gonna say, if it's like 60 something down there, then it's like 30 here.
It had gotten down to 60. Was it like 60, 66 the other day when I left work? So I was able to drive with the windows down and the sunroof open, and then whenever I would stop, I would still start sweating because of the humidity. But it was actually somewhat decent for like 3 hours over the course of 2 days.
Yeah, it got to 43 here one night, a couple mornings already. So yeah, we're getting there.
I'm so jealous.
All right, man. What do you got for your next one?
All right. Well, since I was talking about hell, I might as well go there all the way. I'm going to stay in the hockey world, and I'm gonna hate myself for this, and I'm going to catch hell for it. No pun intended. But the New Jersey Devils.
Okay.
So as much as I hate them, I've also admitted on previous shows that part of that hatred comes from wanting to like them, and part of that has to do with the red, black, and white colorway, which with this team, the theme of it, the name, the colors, the logo, I like everything about them but them. And I'd be remiss if I didn't make sure that I added this in there just for emphasis. Hey, Hollywood, the Devils suck.
Perfect. Yeah, it's funny. For years we kept a Jersey Devils ornament on our Christmas tree. It was never because I was a fan of the team. It was because my mom was a member of the 177th. So they were, for those that don't know, that was their mascot was the Jersey Devils. So It just was kind of fitting, as to why we had it. But no, I agree, man. It's one of those that like I always wanted to love it, and I could to a point, but yeah, I couldn't either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll stay in hockey world too, but this you'll get. This will make you laugh. I've always wanted an Ottawa Senators jersey with the Roman logo with the word bonk on the back. Thank you very much.
Radix Bonk.
Yes, sir. So again, it's a long time inside joke, but I have used the name Radix Bonk for fantasy sports for like 20 years now. So of course I want a bonk jersey. At some point,
Right.
I may end up with one.
Dude,
But
you never know.
But I will say this: they've updated it and they put the Roman logo back on the front, and it's pretty slick looking. So I'll
I
give them.
wonder if they haven't, if they, sometimes they'll put like a block on getting names on the back, like certain names, because they would have to pay royalties to that player. I wonder if that's still in place or not for him.
I don't know. I can't imagine he would require much.
Yeah, I mean, probably like a can of sardines and like a fiver.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a Gretzky jersey or anything like
Right.
that. Oh man. All right. So we did two hockey ones. Let's switch
All
up the
right.
sports here. What do you unless you have 10 hockey ones? I don't know.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. I actually, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, including the Phantoms. 6 of my 10 are hockey.
Wow. Okay. So let's pull back. Let's pump the brakes on hockey for a second. I have
Yeah.
another hockey one myself, but that'll end it for my hockey ones. I think. Yes. So let's switch another sport. Pick one of the other three.
All right. Let's go. Let's see. Let's look at the list. So it's so weird, man. I only have one baseball team on here.
Really?
Only have one baseball team. Because honestly, I've only, when I was younger, I would always watch the World Series, whoever played in it, and so like I ended up with an A's shirt with the Bash Brothers on it, and I had like a pair of shorts that went with it, like when I was super young. Um, I ended up with a White Sox hat and a White Sox shirt because my uncle moved to Chicago, and it was really cool to wear White Sox stuff when that happened. So he sent me a White Sox shirt, a White Sox hat. And then the only other teams I ever really wore anything of, um, I was given a Dodgers hat and I was given a Braves hat. And so I wore them around a little bit. Um, but aside from that, like I've never really deviated from the Phillies in baseball except for this one. And it's the Seattle Mariners, the Griffey era Mariners.
Ah, nice.
So not the navy blue ones with the yellow S on them from like when like his rookie year or anything like that, but that like gray, teal, and navy blue,
Hmm.
um, with the nautical compass on the hat. That's the one that I had, and I wore the hell out of that hat, and I wore that up until he left the Mariners. Just dude, those uniforms were so nice. They were just slick looking uniforms, clean as hell, and just so cool. Um, and it's funny because I actually, when he left the Mariners, it was my freshman year of college, and me and this other kid on my floor, he was a huge Griffey fan too. And so we were glued to the TV the day he was making his announcement of where he was going. And when he announced he was going to the Reds, we went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought Reds hats. And I think I wore it for like a week. And then I threw it in the trunk of my car and was wearing my Phillies hat again.
That's funny you say
So
that one because I almost went there too. That Mariners, gosh, especially with him, that was yeah, that's up there. That's such a good one.
and it was such a good team too. You think about it, that's when so Griffey, Jay Buhner, Tino Martinez, Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson. You had Louis Soho, who
Hmm.
whenever I would put Louis Soho in, because I would play what game was it? Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball on the Super Nintendo, and I would always sing Ruby Soho, but with Louis Soho in place, because it was just because I was
Nice.
a freaking nerd, and that's what I did. But yeah, man, that was like my one dalliance with an outside baseball team.
Yeah, and they had some like really insane players too that went through, and just the ones that you named. But I mean, hell, we didn't even name another really famous one, A Rod, that happened
Yeah,
to be there.
God,
Um,
I hated that guy.
but then our favorite, probably from that team outside of Griffey, Raul.
Oh, yeah, Raul
Uh,
Ibanez and Jamie Moyer was on that team too.
yep. So you had some really, really stacked teams back then in the Mariners, and yeah, big ups to them. I concur on that one. That was always one of my favorites. Love the coloring. The nautical compass was a great logo too. Yeah, baseball. I'm gonna name both of my baseball ones. I'll just get them out of the way. Just because I only had two. So I'll my baseball ones here. I always thought this was a cool one, and I don't know if it was because of really reading a lot of baseball history when I was a kid, and just looking at pictures, and then just over time, like seeing it kind of more popularized for whatever reason. But that Brooklyn Dodgers jersey with Brooklyn scrawled across the front in script,
Yes.
and I was
Yep.
never a New York fan, but it's a classic. And you know, the again, it's weird, but the away gray I love with the blue scripting across. I just think that's awesome. Just one of my personal favorites. And then kind of another one, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but something I've liked, but I've liked only for certain years. Other times I think they're just absolutely hideous. But I really liked the 2018 um, MLB All Star jerseys, and that's the ones where it was hosted in Nationals Park, and so on both sides, you had a touch of Americana on the jerseys, like the Capitol and some different things, and they're just really nice. Great American coloring, red, white, and blue all throughout, and just really, really solid All Star jerseys. I know the All Star jerseys overall, a lot of people either like or they absolutely hate them, and there's some that are absolutely hideous. Like I can't remember what year it was, but whatever won the Arizona Diamondbacks, like that was hosted at.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, those were bad.
yeah.
No,
So
but
like,
you're right on the Washington one.
yeah, they're just really classy to me. I really really enjoy that. But again, I think it's different. It's cool. Um, and to see that with like maybe a player that maybe even a Phillies player that you really liked, and have that jersey for them. I just think that'd be something neat to have, and that'd be certainly something I would probably grab for another player too, just because I like that look. You know what I mean? So that was one for me. So those are my baseball ones on this list. So there's a couple of them for me.
All right, all right. So yeah, I mean that's aside from, like I said, aside the from the Mariners, that's it for baseball. I've got let's see, I've got one college football team and two professional football teams, and the rest's hockey. So, which one do you want to hear?
Let's jump back into hockey. 'Cause I've got another hockey one, so we can bounce another one back off to you.
All right. So we'll go to let's go to one that's no longer with us, but I hope they still are in a way. So the next two I'm going to give are tied together, um, and I there's a couple ways this one's still around, and I hope that it eventually comes back in full force. But the Hartford Whalers.
Nice.
So the Hartford Whalers, classic blue, white, and green. Really love the colorway there. Has the whale tail on the front of the jersey as a W. It's cool, man. The color combo is great. The uniform, it's a simple but still stylish jersey. I just really really like it, and not anything that I mean that I could probably get away with wearing because they're not really a team anymore. but I would still feel dirty wearing another hockey team's stuff.
No, that's always been one of my favorites too. Love the logo on that one. The coloring's really nice. Always has been with them. But gosh, when did they go out? When was their last year? 990 something?
It was in the 90s because they became the Carolina Hurricanes.
Right. I knew that, but I
So
wasn't sure when they
let me
moved.
see. When I want to say 96, 95, 96.
Their last year was 97.
Okay.
So they jumped to Carolina then. Wow, that's been a long time.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's such a great logo, though. I agree on that one. That's a sweet one. I could see rocking that one for sure. This one for me. I'll do a hockey one as well. This is my only other hockey one on here, so my apologies, because we'll end up going back and forth with different sports here. But and I had a knockoff, like a replica one of these as a kid, and it was like one of those that I think I got like Foreman Mills or something. So God knows what it looked like, but I just loved it because it was so cool looking, even with the knockoff version. But I always enjoyed the Calgary Flames jerseys, and mainly because they in either way, either with the white flaming C on the red, or the red flaming C on the white, and the different variants on the striping. And I will say this too: they've modernized it for 2021, and that's pretty slick looking.
So you actually stole one off my list.
Did you? No kidding. Did I really?
Yeah. So that was, the only real note that I had aside from, how cool it looked and how classic it is. And it's been a very, for the most part, it's been unchanged. There's been some minor tweaks here and there, but there hasn't been like a massive change aside from when they had that flaming horse head.
Right.
So as long as it's not the flaming horse head, we're good.
No. It's got to be the C, man. And
Yeah.
that's just, I love the colors are always great on that one. Have you seen the modern, like this year's 2021 ones?
I haven't seen it yet.
They're pretty slick. I mean, it's obviously there's not a whole lot of difference there, but it's like just a little bit more cleaner, more updated version of what we're all familiar with on the Calgary Flames, the Flaming Sea jersey. But they're nice. Really like them. So what else you got then? Since I stole that one.
No, it's cool. The Carolina Hurricanes. So staying in the vein of the Hartford Whalers. I'm not a big fan of the fact that they moved from up north down to Carolina because it's been well documented they've had some issues with attendance over the years. But dude, the uniforms are sweet. That black, red, and white colorway. I've liked that combination of colors forever. And maybe it helps that my college or both the colleges I went to and my high school were red, black, and white. Like that was their colors.
Right. True.
But, they've gone through a couple iterations of their jerseys and stuff, and they've had some cool third jerseys. But I think the whole thing is just really cool. The Storm logo on the front. They've had the third jerseys where they've had their shoulder patch, which their shoulder patch is a hockey stick with a Hurricane flag on it, like blowing in the wind. They've had that as their main jersey. They've had so many cool uniforms that they're one that I really like as well.
Yeah, no, okay. So it's funny. I'm going to stay in the Carolinas, but I'm going to switch sports here. And I go back with one because I had a replica of one of these as a kid, but I would love to have a more legitimate one now. Like maybe not really an actual one, probably can't afford it, but a early Charlotte Hornets teal jersey. I had a Larry Johnson one, and
Okay.
because that was the thing to have when you were like 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, man.
And even now, I would take one now.
Well, dude, did you see the promo for this season of It's Always Sunny where Rob McElhaney has his flat ironed hair, and
Yes.
he's got the Hornets jacket on,
Yep. And
the Hornets star jacket.
that may have been like in the back of my mind having seen that and then kind of thinking through these, and like I said, I really went back and thought about things that I liked as a kid too, and I looked it up, and I was like, yeah, I still love it. It's just love that color. It's the really nice teal color to it, and the that just that classic, that Charlotte Hornets look to it. I liked it, and that their logo was always really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, that was it for me on that one. I'll do another one here. The other one, speaking of basketball, that I was always really, really liked, and again, this is probably one that's more in that iconic status that I don't know that too many people wouldn't like this one, but it just always stuck with me. Was the old school red Chicago Bulls jersey with Chicago in script across the front in black. So like not necessarily the Bulls jersey where it's got Bulls and the big caps on the front,
Right.
but like
No,
that
I know what you're
older,
talking about.
the older
Was it like
Chicago.
from Jordan's rookie year?
Right. And so again, it's funny I made that comment. Like Michael Jordan may have had a thing or two with my love of that jersey. So yeah, I mean that's I know I realize that's more of a classic one, but it's hard not to include for me. I've had Bull stuff over time, especially when I was younger, but never had a jersey, and that I always would love to have one, particularly that one because that just to me that's awesome.
Well, I think it's funny. I think like at some point or another, I think everyone from our time period had some kind of Bulls merchandise at some point. Like I
Oh
remember
yeah,
having a hat and a T-shirt. Just I feel like because that was the thing, man. Jordan was the dude, and I mean, even they made. Do you remember there was a Saturday morning cartoon show? It was short lived, but it was called Pro Stars, and it was Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson.
yeah, I do remember that. Wow. Good Lord. Yeah, that's man, I haven't heard that name in forever, but yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I feel like everybody had some kind of something from those players at some point in their life. If you grew up in our time period, and it's funny too. You're mentioning these basketball teams, and it's making me think that number one, I missed the Hornets should have been on my honorable mention, but there's another one that should have been on my honorable mention, and it's the Phoenix Suns jerseys from when Charles Barkley was there.
Yeah. Yep.
The purple with the orange basketball sun with the orange triangles around it. Like they had some really cool jerseys too. And even the original Orlando Magic jerseys with the black ones with the white pinstripes and the blue logo.
I almost included that one, and it's funny. I almost included it in lieu of the Bulls one, honestly.
Really?
Because and I only say that because I was like, you know what, I want to get a little bit more out there, and then I was like, no, everyone knows that one. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, it's like which one of these popular ones do you want to pick? That's kind of where I was at. So,
All right. All right. Well, let's
so
see. I guess
yeah, what do you got?
so I'm gonna go with another one that this one was kind of it became a cool thing to do, but I had different reasons for wearing it than most of the other people that were wearing it at the time. But I'm gonna go with the Oakland slash Los Angeles slash Oakland slash Las Vegas Raiders. So as a kid, I played for the then East Greenwich Raiders. And, like I mentioned, when we were kids, Bo Jackson was still playing. So,
Right.
you know, Bo Jackson was still playing. The Raiders were awesome. Everybody loved them. It was the Raiders and White Sox were huge in the rap game as far as like all the rappers were wearing Raiders and White Sox stuff because of their logos. Because they were both black and white, and that was just what was cool. So a lot of people were wearing Raiders stuff. I played for the Raiders, and I wore a ton of Raiders gear because that was the team I played for. So, I was still an Eagles fan through and through, but I could wear the Raiders stuff too and not be like some little jerk off front runner
Right,
because
right.
I'm wearing it because of the team, but I still secretly kind of like the Raiders a little bit. But I always my one question about them, which has been my question since the beginning of time with them. Why does the dude on the side of the helmet have a lopsided helmet?
That's a good question. I don't know. I always thought their logo was awesome. Like it's just a
Yeah,
cool logo, but
right.
it is a little off.
Yeah. The one side of his helmet, the ear, like there's like an earpiece that's bigger, and on the other side it's flat. And I've always wondered why it's like that. And I've never Googled it because I wondered about it, but I just didn't care that much. Plus,
The
I don't
only,
think anybody else. I don't think that's ever been answered on Google either.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's weird. It's one of those things that yeah, I'm looking at it now. I mean, I don't know. Is it Does it have anything to do with the fact that the helmet that he's in is from like the 1930s? Like,
I mean, yeah, maybe he just got smacked upside the head and it flattened that part of the helmet. But I I always assumed that maybe because so when I played for the East Greenwich Raiders, our helmets had the exact Raiders logo, like from the NFL to our helmets, and even on like we have championship jackets because we won our division when I was in sixth grade, and so we got the cool little jackets and stuff. And I always saw it on there, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Well, a couple years after I stopped playing, they changed the logo on the helmets for the team, and instead of the the two cutlasses, they put um, like little pistols, like the flintlock pistols that have the like like a musket type end on it.
right.
So they put them behind it to get away from like copyright infringement. So I just at the time I wondered, well, maybe it's copyright, like because that's the kind of stupid little kid I am. I'm thinking about copyright. Um, so I just chalked it up to that, but then I realized no, it's on the regular logo too. So I wonder, I should probably look into it and see because I mean it's not going to keep me up at night, but still I kind of want to know.
Yeah. No, and it's funny you say that. I actually had a Raiders jacket at some point, winter coat, for a year. So I
Nice.
mean, it's just like one of those things, like you said, like at some point everyone had, or at least a lot of people that we knew, whether you're big Philly fans or not, and you had a Bulls thing, or you had maybe where a lot of people had Raiders things that weren't necessarily fans of, or San Francisco 49ers. That was another one
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that people would have because some of the players, were we won't have talked about the Cowboys.
yeah. No, we're not going to talk about that.
No,
Because
but
if you had Cowboy stuff and you lived in the Philly area, you lived in South Jersey, you were a piece of crap, and that's all there is to it. And you can't change my mind. Like where we live now, where I live now, it's a transient area, so there's nobody that's really from here for the most part. So everybody comes with their teams from out of town. That is what it is. 95% of the people who live in the area we grew up in have lived there for generations. And so you're an Eagles fan, or you should be. And if you're not, you're wrong.
yeah, it's kind of funny. So there's a lady I work with, huge Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing is, so we go back and forth every once in a while. But so she made this really really good mac and cheese. We had a potluck last week, and it was really 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 good. But I told her, I said, mac and cheese was delicious, but I eat it with objection because I don't like your crock pot. She's like, what do you mean? And then she realized, and it was a Cowboys crock pot.
That's awesome.
So, okay, speaking of football, then I'm going to keep it simple here, but one I really liked. And I think part of this goes back into I liked it when I was a kid, but then I like it now because of proximity to the team. It's going to sound kind of funny. Houston Oilers, particularly the powder blue.
Okay.
Always dug it. And of course, Houston moved to Nashville to become the Tennessee Titans. So every once in a while, there's some like retro things that go on there, or at least early on there was. But it's just one of those things that, the Houston Oilers powder blue had a nice accent on with the red. And I don't recall, maybe other than the helmet, having the oil derrick, logo.
Right.
But it's just such a simple, like, pretty timeless uniform, jersey. Like, I would wear it, and I think a lot of it was because I really liked Warren Moon. um, and previous to him, like, knowing history a little bit and looking at pictures and stuff, Earl Campbell, I just thought that was always such a cool looking jersey. And I think, they're back now in like the retro, type things that you can pick up, but they're just really nice. I've always liked it. I liked it, when I was 10, and I like it now. So it's just one of my favorites. So yeah. Overall, that leaves me with two. How many do you have left on your list?
So I've got 3 left.
Okay, so go ahead. Let's do one.
Well,
Then we'll.
before I go any further, though, I got to say I do agree with you, and the Titans/Oilers almost made it onto my list because, just like you, I really dig the powder blue, and I've liked every single iteration of the Titans uniforms that's come out. Like, to me, they're one of the coolest of the, I guess, quote unquote, modern football uniforms. So I'm right there with you on those.
Yeah,
But
I do like the Titans. I get a healthy dose of them being so close. I've never been, again, it's weird. I've never been to a game, but they're on TV all the time down here, so I get to watch most of their season.
all right. Whereas I'm trapped with either the Dolphins or the Tampa Bay Bucks. So
Yeah, yeah.
But continuing in the powder blue range here, the powder blue realm, I should say, I'm going to go with the San Diego Superchargers.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew we would both have this one.
Yep. And because, dude, honestly, the powder blue is cool. I've always liked their uniforms because of the lightning bolts on the sleeves, on the shoulders. I've always thought that was cool, and mirroring that on the helmets is cool. But once they went back to the powder blue with the bolts on the shoulders and the white helmets, that that's such a great uniform. It's such a great jersey, and I really, really like it. So they're
Yeah.
on my list.
Yep, and mine too. So you'll have to do another one so we finish out here even. But
Oh, I don't worry, because as I was saying all of that, I thought of another team that really should have been on the list and wasn't. Um, and of course now I've forgotten them again, but I'm sure I'll figure it out before the end of the episode here.
but
Um,
yeah,
but
those Charger ones are awesome, man. Like, and again, that's either going back to like the original '60s version of it, or in the versions of the '90s or 2000s. But the current refresh is amazing, with the Los Angeles Chargers. Such a great uniform. Yeah, and the same deal, man. I loved it because of the bolts on the sleeves. Who didn't? It's timeless.
right,
Kind of an outlandish color scheme if you really think about it. Powder blue, yellow. It's
yeah,
it's a lot out there, but man, it just works so well.
and it's funny too. I completely forgot they moved back to LA, or moved to LA rather.
Yeah, it's hard to keep. LA like goes through football teams like, I don't know.
Like I go through cars.
There you go. You
All
said
right,
it, not me.
so yeah, hey, well, listen, I can recognize my weaknesses. Hopefully that stops now. All right, let me knock on some wood.
There you go.
All right,
There
so
you go.
anyway, so all right, so the other one that I should have thrown on my list, but I completely forgot about is, and I'm gonna laugh because I'm not gonna say I'm sure this is on your list, but it might be the Cincinnati Bengals.
No, I don't have that one on there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, man, the Bungles. I love the Bungles helmet. The jerseys I've been able to take or leave depending upon what they've done with them. But I really like that tiger pattern on the helmet. I just think that's super cool. I've always liked it, and maybe it's the Flyers fan in me that just digs the colorway. But I really do like the Cincinnati Bengals helmets.
I do. The part of that's got to be Icky Woods, right?
Oh, dude, Icky Woods, when Kajana Carter went there, um, you know, just there's been not a whole heck of a lot of huge talent through there, but yeah, Boomer Esiason, um, obviously not Chris Collinsworth, even though he played there, and but
It's you said Kajana Carter, and it's funny. I almost put Penn State down, and I was like, I love Penn State's, stuff because it's just so classy. But it's like one of the most boring uniforms ever.
see, now that's actually on my list.
Is it really?
Yes, Penn State is on my list.
See, I almost put it there, but I was trying to be like unique when I thought of them. You know what I mean? Like I love Penn
I was
State's
too,
things.
because honestly, Penn State falls into the same. God, I hate that I'm going to say this. Penn State falls into the same category for me as like the Yankees, as the Celtics. Those teams that they have these iconic, timeless uniforms. The Red Sox, like that, they don't change. The
Right,
uniforms don't
right.
really change because they hit it right the very first time. The Packers are another team like that I thought about putting on here, but they did it right the very first time and they haven't had to change it. And so that's, I used to be a big Penn State fan. With everything that happened with Joe Pa, I can't throw my support behind him anymore. But um, that doesn't change the uniforms from being just absolutely just one of the best uniforms of all time.
Yeah, no, I do. Because I almost had them on here too, and I just really thought it's like, man, it's um I think the same thing, like you said, it's the Yankees, it's the Red Sox, it's in that same genre, like in that same genre of just super classy. They got it right the first time. They didn't have to change. I will say though about Penn State's though is obviously they have a really killer mascot and logo.
Yes.
So that probably should have been enough for me to like include it. I just had it in my mind stuck on like white, navy blue. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
No,
Like,
no, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. Because there's other teams like that I thought about putting on it. Like the Michigan Wolverines. They haven't really changed theirs either. That's another team that could have easily been on the list. The Detroit Tigers, another
yeah,
one that could have easily been on the list because it's they're timeless. They don't change. And but I kind of wanted to I had to throw a nod to one of the teams, and I damn sure wasn't going to put the Yankees or the Red Sox on here or the Celtics.
no,
So
no, yeah,
I went with the lesser of the evils and put Penn State.
yeah. That's a fair enough. So you have one more left, right?
I do.
Okay, I'll do my last one, and hopefully I'm not going to step on your toes on this one. I don't want to steal it. But I kind of went and thought a little still popular, but maybe not popular with everybody type thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Vince Carter, right? Uh,
Oh, okay.
Retro purple Raptors jersey, obviously with the kind of dumb looking, but the red Raptor on front dribbling the ball.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but man, it's so cool. Like, and here's the thing, and a reason why it's again that's at the time when I was following a lot more NBA. Friggin' Vince Carter, who played for like 25 years, we did,
No, no, you're not wrong.
you know. But I mean, just so cool when he came up, and that Raptors was so outlandish, but it's really cool, and reason why I thought about that immediately, right? It's one of the first ones I thought about was the Raptors, just because the cool purple color, and it's got the red and the black and the white and all mixed in, and it's just really, I don't know, it it looks goofy, but it's still like really cool. That's just kind of my interpretation of it, I guess. Completely the opposite, though. If you get a chance, look up the Raptors 2021 jerseys, and they are the most boring things I've ever seen, ever.
So now, of course, I've got to do this right now.
Yeah, it's a sin. how crappy they are compared to the wonderful Vince Carter era.
All right, bring it up. Really? Are we talking the black and purple one that where Raptors is in a friggin' like triangle?
There's that one, or there's also a white version with a red thing, or a red one with a black thing. Yeah, it just says
Oh
Raptors on
my
the front.
God,
Ye-
yeah.
Yeah,
What the hell?
yeah.
So, all right, let me ask you this. So, because I'm just looking at these now, and for some reason I'm seeing one that's like teal with hot or with pink and white, and it says Tampa, and it has the Raptor is pink now, and he's wearing uh, looks like white shoes and like a white shirt with a flamingo on it.
I, dude,
Did you see this thing?
yeah, I see that right there. I don't know
What
what,
in the hell?
I don't know. That's not a WNBA team, is it?
No, no, that's a Vince Carter jersey.
Uh,
The one I'm
I,
looking at is a Vince Carter jersey, but he's, dude, no, nope, nope. I don't
yeah.
even. I quit.
Yeah, they're terrible, aren't they? Like, and that's why, like,
Yeah,
it was funny. Like, as I thought about this, like was said, other than the Chargers one, the first one that really came to mind was the Raptors one, and I was like, yeah, it's goofy as all get out, but I think it was because it was such a fun looking jersey. That was one I would definitely wear, no matter what, just because it was like one of those like, oh yeah, check that out, like it's just it's different.
right.
But
No,
it's
absolutely.
again, it's one of those that like it was always kind of popular because of certain players on that team. But then fast forward to now, dude, I even if you gave me one of the new ones, I wouldn't wear it because it just looks so boring. Like it just
Right.
no.
Yeah, dude. No, I'm with you on that. The old ones were cool, like the Vince Carter era ones were cool. But that one, good God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's atrocious. Because
Yeah.
even honestly, like the font with the way they laid it out, like God, how first of all, how nerdy do we sound right now? Second of all, the font going into a like a pyramid, it looks terrible. It just
Yeah.
looks absolutely
It,
god awful.
it's look, I'm not a graphic designer at all. I've fiddled around with lettering and logos over time just because of by nature of having to mess around with things. And I'm almost certain that I could probably, given a few days, probably come up with something a little better than that, you know.
I'm
But
confident that you could.
I don't know. Just
I'm
really,
confident that any one of our kids could do that, could do better than that.
yeah. Maybe that'll be a
Like
challenge to our thousands and thousands of listeners.
that should, yes. Submit your, so send your logos to Dear Old Noise Brigade Podcast at doublewidecoffin.com to Bobby and Tom. Hey, see, I fucking saved it. And then I dropped an F bomb.
That'd be all right.
It's PG-13.
Yeah, it's good enough.
That was our one.
So, okay. You've got one left, right?
I do. I have
Let's
one
wrap it
left.
up. What you got?
All right. So this is another one that I'm gonna catch hell for because I've espoused my hatred for them a lot. It's not the Cowboys. It's not the
Oh, thank
Penguins.
God.
So but no, man, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Ooh.
So I hate the Lightning. I've grown to hate them less over time. I guess because of proximity and because my little brother actually likes them. Um, it's been a team that I didn't always hate. I really, really, really like their logo and their aesthetic. Um, I've gone to a game at their stadium, and the whole, even like in stadium experience is fantastic. Um, I will say the fans were jerk offs. Like people, see, here's the thing. This is what's so funny to me about going to games in Tampa. So it's transient fan bases. A lot of people go there that are fans of the other teams. I've almost gotten into fights at 3 different games: at a Rays and Phillies game, at a Bucks and Eagles game, and at a Lightning and Flyers game. All right. 2 of them were leaving the stadium. The Lightning game, it was on the way to the stadium.
Really?
And someone has confronted me every single time. And it's not like I'm being your typical Philly fan, like shouting about the team and this and that. Um, I'm just, I go and I keep my mouth shut because I know what happens in Philly to people who root for the other teams. So I know to just keep my mouth shut and just go about my business, and then I root, like I cheer or boo based on what's going on the ice or on the field, but I don't like shoot my mouth off.
Right, right.
So at the Rays game, somebody actually shoved me. They put their hands on me, and that almost got out of control because I was not the well composed individual that I am today. Um, my dad actually, he was like, "I'm very proud of you that you didn't punch him." I was like, "Oh." So anyway, but yeah, I went to a Lightning game and somebody was screaming at me, "Oh, go, so like get out of here!" Basically, like, don't come here wearing your jerseys. And my response was, "If you don't want other fans here, sell out your stadium." Like, let's be real. You
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
hear. People always say, "Oh, I hate it when people celebrate when it's the other team." Well, you don't want them celebrating, stop them from scoring. Same thing, sell out your stadium. Well, Tampa did the other thing where they made it you can't wear the opposing team's logo on your stuff if you're within certain seating. So that's one of the reasons why I hate them, why I hate the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, huh.
But also because they knocked us out in the Eastern Conference Finals, they've messed us up in the playoffs a little bit. So I'm not, they're a
Yeah,
rival team, not a huge fan.
right.
But I love their logo. I love their uniforms. They had that one sweater years ago, and I used to have a Darren Pupa starting lineup that actually had it on because I used to collect starting lineups and I needed to have all the goalies, even though he played for the hated Tampa Bay Lightning. I needed to have his starting lineup. But it was cool because it had like choppy surf like on the bottom, and then it had like raindrops throughout it. So it was like a blue base of a jersey. At the bottom was like black water, like all choppy, and then there were black raindrops all around it. Um, so that was a cool jersey, and I love the logo. They've changed the logo since they came into the league. When they first came in, it was a little bit too like basic photoshoppy, but it's been stylized a little bit. It's pretty cool, and it kind of reminds me of the electric skateboards logo, which I've always loved. Um,
Yeah, it's funny because I remember that, and looking at it now, um, actually reminds me of the Flash a little bit.
yeah, and that too. Like it's just such a cool logo with the lightning bolt, and they use like it's just super cool. And I wish I didn't hate them because it's another one where you know the like I said, the in stadium experience is super cool. They have the lightning flashes. They have a lighthouse. Like they make the thing look like a lighthouse. They have all kinds of cool stuff, but I just can't like them because of all of the previously mentioned issues I
Yeah.
have with them.
No, and you're not wrong, man. That's a great logo. The color scheme for them has always been really good. Um, so uh, it's certainly one that, yeah, if I was not a Flyers fan and was looking for something to wear, and I was like kind of I'm not, not into one team or whatever. That's certainly one I would wear just because of the aesthetics.
Right.
Logo's cool, colors are cool. It just looks good. And really, like you said, like when they first came in, yeah, maybe a little over the top or maybe even campy to a point, but then man, it's really refined over the years. And I can take it on either one, either if it says Tampa Bay Lightning on it or just the bolt. It's cool. I dig it. That's a great one, I think, to finish this out with.
Yeah. That's
So, but Yeah. Did you have any other things come to mind, or we think we got a good one here in the can? What do you think?
I think we got a good one in the can. I think I do want to kind of talk up the next episode. So, over the past few weeks, there's been some rumblings from Ben Simmons. He's been an unhappy camper, and I guess somebody didn't wipe him properly, and he's got a little bit of a diaper rash. So he's wanting out of Philly, and good riddance to him. But some a notable Philly athlete has come up in our defense and kind of laid it out on the line and what needed to happen for him to be liked here, and it's pretty simple, and it's what we've said every time an athlete has wanted out of Philly. And so we're going to discuss that the next go round. Athletes who were in Philly and wanted out, and honestly, what they could have done to become beloved in the city again and have everything, bygones be bygones. But instead, they chose to be little, not
Babies.
even gonna. Yeah, babies. There we go. That's a good word. That's
Yeah, we'll keep it
much
clean.
better word than I was going to use.
Yeah,
So,
we'll keep it clean. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll definitely we'll talk about the Ben Simmons situation. We'll hit on some past ones. I know obviously front and center for me is Scott Rowland.
yes.
So we'll hit on some other ones too. But yeah, definitely that'll be our next episode, most likely, in case unless you come up with some other genius idea. Because right now you're the ideas behind this one, so keep them
Man,
coming.
that's scary. I'm the brains. We are so screwed if I'm the brains of this operation.
Well, all right, man. Well, I think this has been fun. It's cool. This was, and again, this is a hard one to go through because, we just did an hour plus on talking about what things look like.
Right.
So might, go back and look up some of these if you're not familiar with it. Especially if you're a fan, a lot of these you might be, especially if you're obviously sports fans, but there's some of these, you probably wouldn't hurt to Google some of these. So
I think maybe this is the first episode that we should have turned into a YouTube video where we just put up the pictures of the uniforms we were talking about.
yeah, that's a good, that's probably good, but we didn't. We recorded
Yeah,
it because that's what we
yeah,
do.
screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we've been the Noise Brigade, and
You've
thanks for
been
listening.
hopefully listening.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't
Possibly.
know.
Hey, at least we didn't kill anybody this episode.
Johnny Bench is still alive, right?
Yep, Johnny Bench. And who else did we try to kill?
I don't know. But would they fit in a doublewidecoffin.com?
I believe they would, and you can get all of your double wide coffin needs at doublewidecoffin.com, unless you need an actual double wide coffin and you didn't want to download the podcast.
Take care, everyone.